I can't believe that I haven't seen my next guest since February. Her name is Dr. Beran and she's absolutely gorgeous, and she's very, very knowledgeable, a doctor, but also very versed in all the natural things that can help us with our health. Lovely to see you again. How's your summer been?
It's been amazing, you know, so much going on. I've been away. I travel a lot at the moment, but I always come back to to wonderful Marbella because that's home, and it's also where all my friends are. So it's an amazing place.
It's amazing because you do travel a lot and you get to be in a lot of very cool countries, and it's interesting to see how many people are worldly, and yet Marbella is the gem. It's where everybody likes to come back to.
It is. There's nothing to beat it, really. It's wonderful here.
Today we're going to talk about longevity, which I think is a lovely topic that you've chosen, because most of us, fortunately, we're living nice lives, want to live as long as possible in as good as health as possible.
Exactly.
In fact, I literally just started to go and start doing strength training.
Very good.
Because
very good.
I found it very difficult to pick my grandkids up. You know, when you're like, here, take the child, as opposed to here is your child. And you lose muscle mass without realizing it. Happened without knowing.
Exactly.
Suddenly it's on you and you're just not what you used to be.
Well, it's funny that you should say that, because they are now saying that muscle is the organ of longevity. Because without muscle, you will age. So what you've done is a very wise choice.
Well, I'm delighted. But I do see it, you know, like the falling over, your bones get weak. Yes. And if your muscles are also weak, like there's nothing to hold it all together.
That's right. And accidents happen and then bones get broken, and then that's not a good thing at all.
We probably should start younger talking about these things, because I suddenly found myself in it. And I think a lot of women, it happens the same.
Yes.
So really, actually, when I think years back, I was walking through, I think Harrods, and I came down the escalator and this girl offered me like a wrinkle cream. And I was maybe 19 and 20, and I looked at it, I was offended. And yet thinking back, it's like, well, possibly not necessarily creams, but there are certain things we could start doing younger to then ensure that we're healthier when we're older. But it's never too late to start, right?
It's never. And, you know, but prevention is better than cure, but it's never too late to start. So those are the two rules.
How would you start us out on this mission?
I always say that there are 5 areas that you can biohack. Now, what is biohacking? That means that you use the latest science and technology to understand how you can get younger, doing certain activities and taking certain natural supplements, so biohacking. But there are 5 main areas. So you have nutrition, you have exercise, then you have hormones, then you have something called peptides, which is new, but the most effective out of all of them. So, and stress is the final one, because stress is really, if we don't manage our stress, we produce a lot of cortisol, and that ages us terribly.
What is cortisol exactly?
It's a hormone. So,
yes,
so it's what we call the fight or flight hormone. So if we go back to prehistoric times, if we were being chased by an animal, our cortisol would spike really high to force us to run very fast and get very hungry, and also it would create a lot of inflammation in the body because blood flow would go in the wrong direction. So right now what happens is that if we produce too much cortisol, it makes us older.
Wow.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us suffer from stress, and we have our stress levels. What would be the basics to control stress levels? What would be the basic things as we're on this topic?
Well, you know what it is? It's actually stress resilience. So when you get stress resilient, then you can cope, because how can we control stress? Stress happens to us and then we get stressed. But what we do with that getting stressed is the most important thing. If we become resilient to it, then the cortisol doesn't spike and then we're okay.
So basically it's like being aware of how your body's reacting. If you catch yourself stressing, it's like, okay, this isn't good for me, and get a grip on it.
That's right. And there are natural supplements called adaptogens. So adaptogens are herbs that actually help to balance your cortisol. So those are the ideal ones to take if you're someone who's very stressy.
Okay. I mean, because there are some people who just are anxious in their way of being. as well, not
Exactly,
necessarily
yes.
being instigated by pressure and work and what have you.
I find I'm prescribing adaptogens every single day.
And these are natural, because you're very big
Totally.
on and this is why I'm
Yes.
very big on you, because you're very big on natural.
Yes.
You're a doctor, so you understand
Yes.
the actual medicinal aspect, but then your first option is to a natural remedy.
Exactly. It's always about natural. We don't want a chemical anywhere because that's going to produce side effects, and it's also not sustainable.
I like that. See? Dr. Beran. So we're looking at longevity. One is the cortisol, and you said that is a hormone, but hormones in general, I mean, they drive us crazy. I think men too, isn't it? There's a certain age that their hormones start going crazy and our body just starts flipping out. We can't eat the same things.
Exactly. And you have menopause and you have andropause. That's the male version.
Oh, really? There's a name for it. Andropause.
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 Yes.
For the androgynous man.
Absolutely. So, and it's the same thing. The hormones start to go downhill because biologically we programmed to actually die in our 30s and 40s because that's what used to happen. We would either be eaten by an animal or we'd get a serious disease because there were no antibiotics at that stage. After that, the hormones go downhill. So we have to do something about them. Otherwise, that will age us dramatically. Sometimes we can produce a bit of natural hormone ourselves, but a lot depends on our own health of our adrenal glands, which is what produces those hormones.
I know that when I was going through menopause, I was very nervous to take any of the medications. I mean, I'm also talking 10 years ago, I started with the menopause syndrome, but I was really very nervous of taking this. So I just like bit the bullet and just didn't do anything. But I do see there are women who are taking natural supplements and things now, and they're not suffering as much. It's not necessary to just to deal with it.
Exactly. Well, probably it was a good thing not to take the chemicals because that actually can cause other health problems. So you did the right thing.
So this is what my feelings were.
Yes, your feelings were right because in those days we didn't have natural bioidentical hormones. Now we have that. So that's made from plants. That's fine to take, but you still have to be careful of the dose. You've got to go to a natural medicine doctor, practitioner, or natural hormone specialist because if you get the dose wrong, then it's also not good.
Well, it's funny you say that. The other day, a friend of mine sent me pictures of her covered in these enormous red blotches and rashes. She'd had to go to emergency because she'd overdosed on matcha.
Well, this
and
is
you wouldn't think
ideal
that,
example.
but she overdosed on matcha tea, and you just how can you overdose? But yes, you can, even with natural herbs and things. You need to be careful.
So even with natural medicines, you have to be careful. So you have to treat them like the chemical medicines and know the dosage, know your patient, know their weight, know how much to give them.
What was the instigation for you, the encouragement to, apart from your medical background, to say, no, I'm going to really get into this natural aspect to deal with everything, but on a natural path? What was your incentive?
Well, I had my son when I was 18. So I then realized my body went through these enormous changes. So I said, how can I get back the same body again and my health back, but without having to use chemicals? And I was very fortunate because I went to university in this place called Stellenbosch that had a natural medicine institute right next door. So I was studying both things at the same time, finance at the university and natural medicines and naturopathy at the early age of 22.
Wow.
So that started it, yeah.
So you've always had this passion, and obviously now you've got it almost like a fine science.
Yes. So eventually, I did my nutritional degrees and then I did the PhD and doctorate in natural medicine. So now it's really the only area that I specialize in.
Okay. So for living longer, we've got keeping our cortisol levels down, regulating our hormones.
Yes.
Nutrition's a big one.
It's a huge one because nutrition is all about a hormone called insulin. So when we don't get the insulin right, it ages us terribly. Even there's an argument, is it worse than cortisol? I think they're probably both as bad as each other, because if you have too much sugar in your blood, that will create inflammation and give you a lot of disease as well.
The only time I heard of insulin was because my father was diabetic and my uncle, but it's funny because, not funny, funny strange, not funny, ha. My uncle never overate, never did, everything was fine, very normal. My father was always eating bacon sandwiches and what have you, was well overweight. But they both had exactly the same things happen to them at the same age. So at 74, they both ended up having one leg amputated, then both legs, and then they passed away. But it was funny to see, and again, not funny, ha,
Yeah.
Was completely, my dad had no control of his diet, loved to eat, and yet my uncle wasn't that way, and yet they both had the same result.
Yes, because it's genetic as well.
Oh, really?
So the tendency towards insulin resistance and therefore diabetes is genetic. But the great thing is that we can control our genes as well using lifestyle. So even if we're prone to it, if we have education and lifestyle, then that actually can sort of circumvent the gene problem.
Really is very interesting.
Yeah.
Again, if you know what to do, it just
Yes.
makes a big difference, because
Yes.
I think, and I said, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I think obviously when people make money from medications and certain things,
Yes.
we don't always get to hear about the actual things that work, because people are living off the problem. So yeah, they don't really want a solution. And that makes it a bit challenging sometimes.
It does, yes. Big Pharma have a huge influence in the communication of natural medicine. So it is a pity.
What would be like the basic nutrition? Is it, people have started doing now these, what is it, like we fasting for 18 hours, intermittent fasting, and there's all
Yes.
these different things that people are talking about for having a healthy nutrition. What would be your suggestion?
So
like a daily intake and what have you?
Yes, it all comes under the umbrella of anti-inflammatory. So when your nutrition is anti-inflammatory, then it's a good thing. Now,
Is that like the acid and alkali?
it's
or is that
partly
different?
that. It's partly that, but it's also anything with sugar inflames. Anything with seed oils inflames. Anything processed inflames. So you take that out, the sugar, the seed oil, and the processed food, and you already have a good diet.
Seed oil. What do you mean by seed oil?
Any oil that's not olive oil is made from seeds. So
So we got very big on sunflower seeds, for
sunflower,
example.
canola, all these oils, even vegetable oil is now considered to be not only carcinogenic, but also very inflammatory in the body.
It's amazing, and the things that
Yeah.
we just don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know it was like the big thing when the sunflower oil came out, and
Yes, and
Corn
now
oil and what
it's
have
not
you.
a good idea
Not a
at
good
all.
idea.
Olive oil is wonderful though.
yes,
Yeah.
but even the olive oil, you have to be careful, like to not fry it over a certain temperature, because then that changes the composition as well.
And the other problem with olive oil, you have to be careful that they haven't added seed oil in secretly. Because then you think you're having olive oil if it's cheaper one, and they've added in the seed oil. There was a huge problem in the USA where that was happening a lot.
It really is. Actually, we have come to the point where we need to read the packaging. They do put things on there, like on
Yes.
toothpaste. It actually says,
Yes.
"Do not basically swallow because it's poison." And we're, and we've got shoving in our babies and our kids' mouths and what have you, and our own.
Exactly.
We really do need to read
Yes.
the packaging.
Exactly. Exactly.
What else can we take into consideration?
So the new natural medicine that is going to become the future of natural medicine is something called peptide.
I love the name.
So a peptide is actually a group of amino acid proteins that have been put together to serve a certain purpose. And nowadays what they're doing, these natural medicine laboratories are creating these peptide medicines which help on so many levels. It can help with inflammation, weight, problems with blood sugar, even libido, balancing hormones. Everything can be helped via these peptides. So that's, I'm doing a lot of education with other doctors and nutritionists now about peptide therapy because it is considered to be the medicine of the future.
Like, what is it exactly? I mean, it sounds great, but I'm still not
Yeah.
understanding what it really is.
Well, if you think a protein molecule, so whether that you would take from, for instance, from anything, could be from plant or from animal, you take the protein molecule and then you break it down further and then you create something called amino acids.
Okay.
And those amino acids get grouped together and they're called peptides.
Fascinating
Yes.
stuff. I go back to school. But we do need to know. And as I say, the older I get, the realize you need to know so we can be aware, so we can watch out for things that are, what we're putting in our bodies, first of all.
Exactly. And then if everyone knows that they have this natural medicine available, because so many times we give up because we can't find a solution. The chemical medicine doesn't work. Maybe the vitamins and minerals don't work. You've done all our hormone balancing, but we still don't feel well. And now there's yet another option that can help.
Do you have like certain tests and things when people come to see you that you can analyze their overall being to know where to start? Because sometimes, like, how do you know where to begin?
Exactly, yes. There are several really important tests. First of all, a DNA test. So that checks what your DNA looks like in terms of all of these things: detoxification, inflammation.
You can see that information.
Yes, you can even see food intolerance. You can see via your DNA test nowadays.
Wow.
Whether you have a tendency to put on weight, you can see that too. Skin problems, you can see. Mind problems, mental problems, you can see via DNA. So DNA testing is very, very big now. And then, of course, gut testing, because our gut is the basis of the start of any health issue. So we have a gut test that looks at things like parasites, bacteria, digestion, all the things that happen with the gut. And then the hormone test. There's a special test called the Dutch test that will measure 30 different hormones and tell you exactly what's going on with them.
It really is like medicine it's like you're blowing me away, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Hearing you say that with the parasites, I've heard a lot of talks lately about parasites potentially being the cause of even dementia, Alzheimer's, because we've got parasites in our brain and we don't think of that in us humans, but particularly as Brits with our bacon and our sausages
and sushi.
And sushi. I have a friend who actually, Juan Munoz, was sculpting. He passed away from a boqueron that had one of these worms in it.
Yes.
And we don't think about it. We don't talk about it. But I believe that this is coming into something that we all need to be aware of.
We do, especially with things like raw fish. But even if you're eating a salad in a restaurant, there's a risk. So you have to be really careful these days.
Is it true that pumpkin seeds and things like this are good for deparasiting?
Yes, pumpkin seeds have some special natural chemicals that are anti-parasitic. And then we also have a natural medicine that is comprised of several different herbs that are also highly anti-parasite. So that's great. Once you know, you can do something about it and it clears it. So that's really good news.
And it's important also, I think, to clear it the right way, because I have another friend who gave herself a parasite clean. But obviously, as they killed them, they all must have just released all their toxins, because she was severely ill, really, really ill. So that's also something I believe you have to do
it with a doctor.
Exactly. Don't just go doing it yourself, because I think that's self-treatment. And she made herself ill, and I'm thinking it was probably all the parasites just like letting go and like.
You are absolutely right.
Everything.
And that's right. And then all those leftover dead parasites also start to ferment. So then you have problems with candida. So we tend to have a candida clear and a parasite block. And those two have been medicinally tested. You don't detox too fast, but you do kill off over a period of time.
So how can people come and see you to like say, okay, test me?
Well, it's easy. I have my main office, obviously my main surgery is in Gibraltar. But I do visit various clinics along the coast, and I also work a lot on Zoom, online. So that's all possible. Whatever anyone prefers. And I also have my functional health practitioners who help now, because we're so busy, and we have 14 practitioners who've been trained by me that help.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, it must be, because how do you cover?
Yes, I can't cover everything anymore.
Exactly.
It's too popular now, which is good. So
it is, you're doing a good job.
Thank
and
you.
You're also right, you have several, I mean, like, sure, you've got loads, you've written loads of books. Tell us a little bit about how we can buy your books and what subjects and topics you cover.
Well, yes, if you go onto Amazon, they're all there. I have an Amazon author page, and I have a lot of information about anti-inflammatory techniques, especially with nutrition. I have lots of recipe books as well, anti-aging as well. Now, my new book is going to be about the ultimate way of longevity. So that's going to be a new one. But the books are all there, and they're quite, and you know, they're not expensive. So for $3 or $4, you can download a book. So
no, and it makes sense, because you've got that point of reference, just as a guideline. Because I know also we're hearing, I like to watch TED Talks and all different things. But again, talking about the acidity and the alkalinity of the body is a big difference, because disease can't live in an alkaline body.
Yes, and acid sometimes as well. It depends on the disease.
On the disease and what our body, I suppose, it makes a difference as well, how we are.
Yes, we shouldn't be too acidic or too alkaline. We have to be
like swimming pools.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to do those tests if we haven't got too hungry.
Exactly.
And that's what you do. You do that litmus test to see exactly
where everyone is.
where everybody is.
Yeah.